Time for this.
I think you ought to know. Top Men's Radio. The place where men and women really speak. Oh man, what a show. It's Men's Radio. This crazy show is on 3 times a week. Now Russ and Phil are there to help with all your cares. We laugh, we cry, we talk like grown-ups do. But if you're sad and low, it won't cost you no dough. Men's Radio, that's the place for you. With Russ Kane and Phil Dave.
And immediately there's a problem straight away. Let me introduce you, ladies and gentlemen, to Phil Dave. What the hell?
I grew my hair.
That's what it was. Do you identify as Phil Dave?
I might identify as something else.
Yeah, you could do. Who the hell knows these days, ladies and gentlemen? She is, of course, the queen of the Chazza. Lovely Lesley de Meza is in the house. And we've got our guests waiting. We've got to crack on. But anyway, hi to Francine. I've got a slight lag. Hi to Barry J. Allen. Afternoon, one and all. Robert Van Buren. Hello, Russ and Lesley. And then obviously has Phil. We can't even go there. We can't even go there. Let's get on with our first guest, ladies and gentlemen, because no time. I'm hoping he's unmuted himself. Anyway, first of all, let's welcome Dr. Samantha Wild. Hi, Sam. Am I allowed to call you that? Do I have to call you? Do I have to call you Dr. Wild?
No, Sam is absolutely.
It sounds
fine,
like a sort of BBC. It sounds like a BBC series about someone who leaves London and goes to a small Cornish town. Dr. Wild, and that'd be great. And then he's too handsome. He's always been too handsome. I don't know if he's fixed his mic, but he's annoyingly handsome.
I think I have fixed
Roger,
my mic. Can you hear me?
But you're still handsome. You're still handsome. You're still too good looking, and it's rather annoying, to be honest with you. You haven't even got the decency, Roger, to age. This is the thing.
It's no. I always had a baby face, which bothered me for the first 30 years of my life, and now
right.
About it.
Right, that's unbelievable. Right, welcome to Men's Radio Station and to my daily show. Really appreciate it. Why are you guys here? I'm starting with a doctor because she's got the name Doctor in front of her. Excuse me, 1 second.
Well, that was interesting.
Are you there? Are you there? So
we're here.
Fine.
Are we good to go?
Yeah. No, we were good to go to start with.
Thank you.
No, go on.
So we're here as Bupa Health Clinics has released some research that's shown that 80% of UK adults will be taking steps to improve their health this year. So Roger and I have been speaking to lots of people this morning about ways that you can do that. And we're hoping that more and more people are going to come forward and make those important changes to their lifestyle to improve their health.
Okay, what can we do?
So start small, I would say. So I think for most of us, this means improving our exercise levels. And Roger will add to this.
Been great having you on the show, Samantha. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Bye. So let me just cut to the chase here, because this is important. Does any of your advice with you two geniuses include extra single malts and large Havana cigars? Because if not, I'm not sure.
Unfortunately not.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but what I'd say to that is, and I'm no doctor, nearly was, but not now.
Well, you are in our eyes.
Yeah. When I was an athlete, when I was a
young man,
I could drink, I could eat whatever I wanted to, because I was exercising the whole time, clearly. Now I'm a bit more careful, but it's still a balance thing. And my main exercise, I go for a little gentle jog with my wife and the dogs in the morning. We drop the kids off to school, and honestly, that's all it is. But we then go and have a coffee and a croissant, and I've never changed. If I exercise, I feel I can actually, I can eat and I can have a drink. See, if all you're doing is the drinking and smoking with no exercise, then you're up against it. But a bit of balance, cancel each other out. That I've always won for balance.
It's true. By the way, I am just kind of kidding because I do actually
You-
exercise. I
yeah,
walk the
see-
dog every day. I'm always
Brilliant.
dashing about. I haven't got my Fitbit on at the moment, but I always try. I try and do about 2.5, 3 miles a day
Excellent.
minimum.
Well,
Brilliant.
You're way
what
ahead
I-
of the game. You're way.
Am I?
Yeah.
Am I? So what else can we do? It's over to you guys. So, Dr. Wild. Sorry, that is a great BBC series. Come on. Got it written all over it.
It needs to be something you enjoy, doesn't it? So as you said, go out walking the dog. If go out for a walk, go out for a run. Think about things that you might want to try which you haven't tried before, and get friends and family involved as well. We want it to be something that you enjoy, so you sustain it. This can't just be for January. This has got to be throughout the year.
Yeah.
A bit of competition amongst friends is always good as well, but also having that time just to catch up with people, it gives you that extra motivation to get out and do something.
It's also very good for your head, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
To just get out. That's my thinking time. If I've got to work plot lines and stuff like that for anything I'm writing, it all comes to me when I'm just quietly walking my little mini schnauzer.
And I think you're right, and it's a byproduct, isn't it? And I think over the years, exercise used to always be about losing weight, physical, and now it's shifted. That it is as much about mental well-being and mental health, because I love the phrase, motion creates emotion. And love that. I love a phrase.
Did you come seriously? Where did you come up with that, or is that something that Bupa came up with?
I read it or heard it years ago, and I
that's
thought,
great.
And I think that is true. So when sometimes you have to stop thinking and just get moving.
Totally.
And I think that definitely is the case now. But I think something Samantha said is make it easy, small steps. Do something you want to do, and start really small. I met a guy the other day, and he's an amazing person. I think, and I'm not exaggerating. He'd lost, I think, about 14 stone over
Jesus.
And he showed me a photo of him before, and a photo, and it unrecognizable. This guy could hardly walk. He was that big, and he says all it was, a friend of his just came around and said, "Look, come on, let's walk to the gate." And he I can't walk. And he walked to the gate, and then the next day they walked beyond the gate. And I know this is slightly corny, but it's true. And he told the story is, I just then walked down the street. I walked round the block.
Yep.
Before I know it, I was
He's Forrest Gump, for Christ's sake.
And this guy just over the years. So it is a marathon, not a sprint. But if you can make it a part of who you are and what you do, so it's no longer a chore or something I should do. Another tip is get it out of the way. Get it out of the way as early as you can, because if you leave it to the rest of the day, life gets in the way.
Do you know what, Roger? Every damn time I say, right, I'm going to do this, and then you get stuck in WhatsApp messages and emails and stuff like that has to be answered. You look outside, it's pitch black.
But that's where the dogs come in, because they have to be taken out. So at some point.
That's a great. Now, Lesley, you walk every day, don't you?
Well, I do, and there's a story to this, because I actually wanted to ask Roger and Dr. Wild about this. I used to walk every single day, and in lockdown, I really did a lot of it. I would get up particularly early and do it before I started the day. That way, I didn't have to look at the WhatsApp, the emails, or anything, until I fell. And I tripped and I fell. And the first fall, I tripped over a manhole cover. Long story, but I landed up in A&E because I needed stitches in my face, blah, blah. And I lost some confidence. Subsequent to that, I tripped again. And the second trip, which was the second day of a holiday, I broke my arm. I dislocated my elbow joint. I landed up, I had 7 hours surgery. I've got a nice metal bit in the arm now. But my confidence has gone. I don't walk the way I used to. Because actually, if I'm honest, I'm scared. People have said to me, use a stick. Over my dead body am I using a stick? I don't need a bloody stick. But for someone like me, okay, I can garden, I can potter, but how do I regain that confidence?
And I'd like to add to that, because I had a stupid fall. I was walking the dog. I tripped over an uneven paving stone last year, smashed my hand, and despite everything they tried to do at Guy's and St. Thomas's, who were brilliant, and a horrible operation, etc., it's permanently damaged. I'm left-handed, and like Lesley, I have lost some of my confidence. I'm really very honest on this show. I don't BS.
Yeah.
I've lost some of my confidence.
Yeah.
How do we get it back? Great
This
question.
isn't a plug, Lesley, but as an aside, I have my own fitness brands. We have treadmills and bikes, home fitness, and we have a lot of older people who exactly say that. They're worried about tripping up outside. They get to an age and they get themselves a nice little folding treadmill at home, so they can, because there's no danger then. They can control it. So I'm just throwing that at you. That's an option.
Not a bad point, Roger.
But confidence is such a thing when it comes to exercise. A lot of people don't go to the gym because they're just embarrassed. They don't want to go to a gym and be around all these people who are fitness fanatics. And it's surround yourself with the right people and your confidence will come back. But it is tough to get that confidence back when you've had a fall with exercise. And maybe you need to find a different type of exercise,
Yeah, I'd agree. Yoga, Pilates are absolutely excellent forms of exercise as we get older, and they're a lot sort of more gentle as well. My own mum, 75, she does Pilates every single day. And she's absolutely incredible the way that she moves, and it's brought her confidence back. She's on her own. She did gain the confidence to join the gym because I go there, but she's made her own circle of friends now, and that's her social life as well.
That's nice.
So absolutely fantastic, and really, really good for mental well-being.
It is something we don't discuss. I know that's not why you're here, but losing this confidence, it's so annoying because it propels you into a state of mind that you wouldn't normally be in. And it's really, you beat yourself up about it because you think, come on, I'm running around, I'm in and out of Soho every day and all the rest of it. And yet I am so conscious that when I'm walking, etc., going downstairs, suddenly I'm the guy I never thought I would be. And it's infuriating. I have to say that. You're way younger than I am. You haven't happened. But when you have an accident like I did and like Leslie's had, it shakes you up. It's stupid, but it just does. So you got a physical thing and a mental thing as well. What else can we do to stay fit? Are we, by the way, I've got a question for both of you. We are inundated when we watch TV with fast food ads. How can you have all of that stuff being shoved down your throat, metaphorically, obviously, and yet say, "Oh, we've got an obesity problem." Well, of course, we've got an obesity problem because this is what you're advertising all the time.
Yeah, it's a challenge. I'm a parent of teenage kids, and the takeaway culture is, we didn't have it in my day. I mean, it's not. Oh, in my day, we always have freshie. And as parents, it's a challenge, and it's a challenge.
Do you limit what your kids can have?
It's hard, isn't it? Especially with teenagers when they're out and about.
Tough. Yeah, they've got their own money and everything.
When they were younger, it was easy. They basically work. They're 17 now. But yeah, we try. We do our very, very best, and they're aware. But I think it's the equation. It's the old equation, and that equation's never going to change. It's never going to change. What you put in, But if you're not doing any exercise, you're tipping it out. It's the balance. So I've never been. I'm happy to say, when I was an athlete, I could go, McDonald's, Olympic Village. What's the busiest restaurant in the Olympic Village?
Yeah. I bet it ain't a salad bar.
McDonald's. But it does, because it doesn't matter. You're
going to burn it off, right? You're going to burn it.
But it's the balance. It's balance. Exercise. You can treat yourself. But if you're out of balance, as human beings, we are all about balance. If you're out of balance, it's going to be tough. Yeah.
It's everything in moderation, though, isn't it? If we're looking after ourselves the rest of the time, and we need to set a good example to our children as well, then we can have a McDonald's, say, once a week. As long as you're not having that for every meal, we don't need to deprive ourselves completely. No. But we just need to keep everything into perspective.
Yeah.
I don't eat fast food. I actually don't.
Do you
like
not?
it. No, I don't.
I
don't like it. I'm lucky. I just don't like it. It's like I don't smoke cigarettes because I just don't like them. So it's never been a problem for me. It's not a moral issue.
Lifestyle. I think lifestyle is an issue here. I mean, one of the things that I was aware of when I was teaching was that parents bring little Johnny all the way up to the school gate in the car, and then they complain that they can't park near enough. If they park half a mile away and at least walk the last half mile, if everything's got so easy in a way to avoid the exercising, we can hop on a bus, we can hop on a tube. Kids now communicate with each other instead of going around to see each other, but they actually communicate 100%. Via, apps and all the rest of it. I know some schools do this mile in the morning before they start teaching, which is a brilliant idea. But I do think it is about a lifestyle and a kind of a family behaviour that gets everybody active. Because as Russ just said to you, how do you cope with your kids? Well, you can't really, well, you can tell kids what to eat, but whether they listen or not is a whole other story. Oh, Francine Warner's just put up her grandchildren love sushi as their friends do, which is great apart from the white rice. But let's not go there right now.
It's only a tiny bit of rice.
It's a lot of rice because you need to eat a lot of sushi to feel full.
Okay.
It's a balance, but it's just even beginning to do those things.
But isn't your point? It's harder now than it's ever been because of the phone. My kids, absolutely, they commute, they play with their friends, but they play online with their friends. They're still playing with their friends, and we should. And I can't, hand on heart, if I was a kid now, I'd be doing it. When I was younger, there wasn't. There were 3 channels on telly. There was no kids' TV. There was no reason to be inside. So why were we outside the whole time? Now, why you've got everything you want inside? So it's not their fault. But what we have to do is recognise that the challenge, unless you're really into sport, the challenge is a greater challenge than ever been before. Because for all the good of technology, it has created an instant a mindset. I can have it right now, and I can
instant gratification.
I can be entertained in my hand. Why would I don't need. I'm entertained. I don't have to get off my chair. I'm going to be entertained.
Let me ask both of you this, and I'm going to start with Dr. Wild on BBC One, 9 o'clock. This is the thing. Obviously, you're doing a big PR junket now, and you're going on to lots of stations. I get that. So your time is limited. But how do you? Because you're both very, no BS. You're both very personal, and it's and what you're saying is interesting. And we can sit here, and I can see the audience. I'm getting all the stuff coming up on my screen, loving it. But when you get this, I'm going to call it the nanny state, and it's message after and you just think, oh, sod off. I've had enough. And I think there's a point where you get so sick of being told what you can and what you can't do, that you just think, screw it. I'm just going to do what I want to do. And it has the reverse effect. You can answer or not. I mean, don't feel obliged.
Can I answer that?
Please do. Please.
So I get it, because it's like, well, kind of people get it, don't they? Well, people get it. So why don't they do it? I think I know there are 2 types of motivation. There's extrinsic motivation. So you've got to be told. You've got to be motivated from outside. So we've got to advertise. You've got to tell everybody what to do. Yeah. Okay. Fine. That'll get you aware. But I'm going to just talk as a professional sportsman. Ultimately, the only motivation that really is going to do anything is what we call intrinsic. It has to be something you want to do. And it all starts with you connecting with your why. And we all have different reasons and different whys. So if you look at exercise, deeply to take the time to think, why do I want to do exercise? What is my reason for it? Why is it that so many people have a heart attack and suddenly they become health fitness fanatics? Why? Yeah. Because their why has just changed. Because now they have a real why. I don't want to get a heart attack again. So that's it. I'm going to exercise the rest of my life. But for most of us, you've got to create that why and you've got to own it. And that is what will get you through. If you're waiting for someone to motivate you and make you, don't eat this, don't eat that, go to the gym, it'll go in one ear, but you won't feel it emotionally. Once we feel something emotionally, and it was easy for me as an athlete because I had a bit of talent and I had the ability, if I was lucky and I trained really hard, that maybe one day I could get an Olympic medal. You don't need any more motivation than that. You don't wake up every day going, oh, what am I going to do today? You know exactly why and what you're trying to do. If you can take a bit, and that's extreme, but if you can take that and soften it, like I do now for me, I just want to be healthy for my kids. Okay. Sure. I just want to look okay. I just want to be in the summer, be able to take my top on and not look too bad. I mean, I don't look like I used to, but not too bad. These are silly motivations, but they're real. It's vanity.
And joking aside, Roger, that you've got extra pressure because people go, "Oh my God, it's Roger Black."
No, I know.
Now, if it's me, no one gives a monkeys, right? No. So if I take my t-shirt off, it won't happen, and I don't look as great as I did when I was like 25.
I look
Who cares? But you're Roger Black.
Yeah,
and people go, look what's happened. It's a whole different parameter for you than it is for somebody like me.
But sure.
But it's true though, isn't it? I mean, people don't say that to you because they're looking at the bigger issues. But
my answer to that is this. That doesn't matter enough for me to go down the gym every day and pump iron. Okay, I don't care. I'd rather just be. I just would like to be a middle-aged guy who's okay. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not comparing myself to when I. And so for me, I'm okay about that. But I come back to it. But my why, I'm very clear of my why. You know, yes, I have a heart condition. I have to respect that now. I didn't when I was an athlete. I have to now. Okay? So I was born with the leaking heart valve. So I didn't, as an athlete, whatever, just go on with it. Now I'm aware of it. Okay. So that is a why for me. I just to keep moving and be healthier. And I think we can all have our own personal why. You just have to, once you connect with that, if you don't connect with that, you're just going to give up. I mean, I think
yes.
Yeah, and I'd completely agree with that. So in our Bupa Health assessments, that's exactly what we're doing. We're talking to people, we're finding their why, we're giving them a current picture of their health and well-being and looking at where they could end up in the future. And that can sometimes, again, be the drive to change.
You're absolutely right, Samantha. I had a big wake-up call because I went to the doctor and said, "Oh, you're pre-diabetic." I said, "What?"
Yeah.
And I turned it around in no time. I mean, in absolutely no time. I thought, well, screw that. I'm not having that crap in my life. Turned it around, went back, said, "Oh, everything's fantastic. You know, your blood pressure's great. It's great." It was easy to do. I mean, it wasn't. It really wasn't a chore.
But the
it wasn't a chore
motivation,
at all.
Yeah.
But your motivation came from being, getting the check.
Yeah.
If you haven't had the check.
Yeah,
that's it. Sometimes we just don't realise what's going on, do we?
Oh, no, precisely so. I tried intermittent fasting and that really worked for me. I got to say, it really, I lost a stone in about a month. It was really good. Yeah, I did intermittent fasting and I went on the carnivore diet, which really suits my metabolism. And I felt much better.
That's it. It's finding something that's worked for you and that you're happy to maintain it. So,
it was good. I better let you guys go because I'm sure you've got a billion things to do. Thank you so much, Roger. An absolute pleasure to meet you. You're a freaking legend and a charming man. And Dr. Samantha Wild, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. You've been great. Good luck with everything that you're doing. Really good stuff. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Weren't they lovely? Weren't they great?
And he is so handsome. Oh.
He's ridiculously handsome. He's ludicrously handsome.
And lovely.
He didn't even have the trouble is he didn't even have the decency not to be nice. Which is really, I've got a bad hair day in case you're wondering where I'm wearing a hat.
I kind of realised that you had a bad hair.
I look like an idiot. I look like sort of Ken Dodd's ghost.
What's that T-shirt say that you're wearing? I can't see what it says.
The Daily Show on Men's Radio Station with my Twitter account and the station's Twitter account.
I couldn't read it because of the way you're standing. And no, it's okay. You don't need to do that. You look like you've got boobs now. But I wondered what it says. It's nice.
That's what it says. That's what it says.
Thank you for sharing.
It's my absolute pleasure, and I'm not taking it off before you ask. Let's go to Spain. Hi, Chrissy Richards. Hi, how are you doing? I hope you're okay. She had a rotten time recently. Susley, we're sending our love to you. Please don't apologize for being late. Dave told me. Lots of love to you, and you know that all strength. We are here for you. That's all I got to say on that subject. Boy, are they going through a very difficult time. So, thank you for joining. I had to fire Phil, Dave, and I'll tell you why. I don't mind telling you, because yesterday he posted a picture of his breakfast.
Yes.
And he's got a big bowl of porridge. No, Weetabix. He's got a big bowl of Weetabix. And he said, yes, I actually did intend to put on paprika all over my Weetabix instead of cinnamon. I thought, the man's incompetent. He's got to go. That was it. It was a bridge too far, to be honest. It was a bridge too far.
And now you've got me instead?
Well, it's lovely. Tell us, you know what, people, as we've got a bit of a moment before we're joined from the United States. I'm not quite sure where Chantal is. She's either in Denver, Colorado, or she's back in LA. I don't know. And I keep saying, you don't have to get up at 4:30 in the morning to do it. She says, no, I want to do it. That's so sweet. We tell us a bit about your background, because people always say, well, what this is Lesley de Meza. Who is she? Who is she?
Funny, actually, a friend of mine came over this morning. We were talking about my background, and I was telling him about a show that I really want to do on Men's Radio. My background is, well, I met you 150 years ago when we worked for what was then Europe's largest commercial radio station.
Yes, indeed.
Before that, I'd been a teacher. I taught drama and I taught English, but I left teaching, worked in radio for 7 years. Then I really missed working with real people. Sorry, but the kids were real. Kids are honest. It was different. And I went back into education, introducing education to prevent people misusing drugs.
Okay.
And I said, I remember when I went for the interview, government paid for it. It was a government paid post. And I said, you can't do drugs on their own. I really want to do sex with this as well. So I went back.
So your background is sex and drugs.
I did.
No wonder we get on.
Exactly. I did sex and drugs for a living.
Bloody marvellous, quite frankly.
And I was good at it. I was so good at it. I also
what you were good at drugs, or you were good at sex? Which I'm getting a little bit lost here.
I was
move on.
I was very good at
education. Thank you.
I got involved in the HIV education stuff that was going on with Terence Higgins Trust and so on. So I became a trainer for them. Anyway, the long and short of it is, I went into something in education subsequently called personal, social and health education. I was employed by education authorities and health authorities. And after about 8-10 years of doing that, I went freelance and worked as a freelance trainer, consultant and author. I've written about 17 books.
Excuse me?
Yeah, about 17.
Written about 17 books?
Yeah, but they're teaching resources, most of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, there's an awful lot about me that you probably don't know, but that's fine. It's just there. And I guess you could say I'm semi-retired now. I still do a bit of tutoring, but it's not about sex. I don't have children come to my house.
Stop, please. This is going to go horribly wrong. No,
I tutor English for GCSE now.
Fair enough. Okay.
But the program that I really would love to do with men's radio stations is something that I used to do with Anna Rayburn when I worked at Capital.
Anna and the Doc.
I would like to do a no holds barred Q&A on sex for men who want to talk about issues, and women, because I don't have an off button that says I can't talk about that. I will talk happily about anything. And I would love to do something like that, because
let's see what we can dream up for later in 2023, providing I'm still here. You know what? I can see a little picture that's come up on my screen, which means only one thing.
We love TV.
And that means, ladies and gentlemen, here she is.
Hello, my darling.
Good morning.
But where are you?
I am in Santa Monica. And for those that don't know, that is on the coast of Southern California, about 8 miles west of Los Angeles.
Yeah, 8 miles, or can take you an hour and a half to blooming well get there, that's for sure. Dear God. Santa Monica, very close to my heart, because I did my one-man show, Caned Laughter, at the Santa Monica Playhouse twice over a number of years, and took the weekend over, and you were there, and it was. I love Santa Monica. It's a lovely, lovely place. I got to be honest, I'm not being critical. Yeah. I preferred the background last week, which was spectacular. Spectacular. Santa Monica, how lovely.
Excuse me 1 minute. I have to go and answer the door.
Of course you do. Of course you do. I shall take Lesley off. How are you, first of all, with all your fantastic traveling? How are you doing?
You know, I'm extremely well, a little jaded after nearly 10 days in America and countless meetings, countless parties, lots of people to see, you know, staying up too late, too much talking, not enough exercise. Roger was making me feel very guilty just now.
He makes me guilty because he's so handsome.
Indeed. And I do remember I met him many, many years ago. He was a guest on Through the Keyhole a million years ago. So It was lovely to see his shiny face.
Yeah. And she was nice. Don't you think Samantha Wild, Dr. Wild, would be one of your TV shows? Oh, it'd be bloody marvelous.
Great name, and she could definitely be given a TV show without doubt.
Dr. Wild. It's got the whole thing. Right. So what exactly am I allowed to know what you're doing as you travel across the Did you go to Denver? You went to Colorado?
I did. I was in Colorado between last Friday and this Friday. I was in Colorado. So I went from raging storms on the West Coast to more storms, but snowy storms in Colorado, where we had 9 inches of snow overnight.
How much snow was there?
9 inches of snow overnight.
Holy God. Jesus.
Completely crazy. I mean, it's bonkers.
All right,
and
now,
then
every woman watching this will be, I know, I'm getting a psychic link. Fading. I'm getting a Lewis McLeod link, which is going to say this. How do you pack if you know you've got to go to Colorado and Los Angeles?
Well, you need 2 suitcases.
There you go. There you go.
Simple answer, excuse me. It's been slightly chaotic, except the weather's been terrible everywhere. So
is it still raining? Is it still raining where you are?
It was raining yesterday when we got to Los Angeles, and the skies are grey. The drought is now over in California for the first time in 3 years, but it's just carried on raining. So we haven't seen the sunshine at all. Haven't seen sun since I left home 10 days ago, which is
You're missing nothing here. It's crap.
No, okay.
And there's a bus strike which completely ruined my day. I'm standing like a schmuck at the bus. There's a bus strike. There's no buses. I was so late for absolutely everything. Now, and thank you so much for joining us. I always write. I was saying, and I just want to make it clear. I always write to Chantal. I said, please, it's like 4 o'clock in the freaking morning. Don't get up. It's like, no, I want to do it. So kind of you, so sweet of you, and it just shows the sort of person that you are. When are you back, by the way?
So Sunday, as long as the tubes are working from Heathrow, I will be back in West London in the morning.
This is Britain in 2023, right?
Yeah.
You get on the plane, you fly 11 and a half, 12 hours, but no, they're on strike. We can't get out from the airport now. I'm going to have to walk up the M4 all the way to West London. So what's come across your purview recently?
Well,
if you've had time, or just talk about LA life.
I had a couple of programs up my sleeve. Of course, I've come to the land of entertainment where everybody talks about pretty much nothing but film and television. But that's fine because that's what I love. So you were asking really why I was here. I was here for a couple of meetings with BAFTA because I still do a little bit of fundraising for BAFTA. And we were talking about the BAFTA Student Awards that'll be coming up later on in the year. Then down to Denver for a corporate meeting of a company whose board I sit on, which was completely lovely. And then back to Santa Monica last night for a fundraiser, but very star-studded fundraiser. It's a fundraiser that was put on by Russ Kane, who is the ITV correspondent.
Yeah, such a nice man.
Yeah, based out here, does all the entertainment coverage for ITV. And he had a lot of his really genuinely close friends there. So Catherine Zeta-Jones was there with her husband, Michael Douglas. And let me think who else was there. Just a myriad people who were just terrifically good fun. Lots of singers who came on and did, wonderful musical turns. And it was to celebrate Burns Night, which is in fact next week.
It's next week because I'm going to the Soho Whiskey Club to celebrate.
Oh, well, there you are. So we were celebrating Burns Night, and it was just a terrific evening. An awful lot of whiskey was drunk, but not by me, I might say.
Of course not.
Indeed.
Because you're so abstemious. Was Ross King wearing a kilt?
He was. Ross was wearing
How did I guess?
Yeah, exactly.
How did I guess?
And Gary Barlow gave us a little bit of a sing-song after dinner, which was absolutely brilliant. And everybody got up and danced and sang. And it was just a tremendous evening. And there are lots of big celebrities in town because it was the Golden Globes last week. And so this is the big awards season over here. So it's party after party after party, junket after junket after junket. But
the interesting thing is when these folks know each other, it's no different than when I meet up with Ray and Colin every Saturday morning. They're just people who happen to be actors and actresses, if I can say that anymore these days, and they're just mates. And so they're not going, ooh, I would, because I'm useless at these things. Jesus. I remember the last thing you invited me to, I'm talking to this very beautiful girl, and I eventually say, and what do you do? And she's one of the Pussycat Dolls. What a dick. I mean, gee, I'm so embarrassed. I had no idea the hell she. Well, you know what I'm like. Lesley, would that be a lifestyle you'd like? You think you'd enjoy it?
So. I mean, I listen. I don't know if I'd like it. I've always said to you, I'm very careful about the way I use the word friend.
Yeah.
And lots of acquaintances, but very few real friends. Yeah, I like getting on with people. I'm a communicator. It's my thing to chat and talk to people. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, all I'm sitting here thinking is, Chantal, have you had any sleep? That's all that's going on in my head. What time did you get to bed? Have you had enough sleep?
Did she have breakfast? Has she had lunch?
No tea. No, I got to bed at 1:30. I set my alarm for 4 a.m.
Oh my God.
And now it's just a little after, where are we now? It is,
I don't know.
4:36 here and 12.
Holy God.
Okay, another question then. How come 3 hours sleep-ish and you look amazing?
She looks fantastic, doesn't she? You look fantastic. How did you... Yeah.
Well, I am still wearing my nightie, but I've got a very big red jumper on over the top.
Oh, brilliant.
Sorry about that.
Suddenly the show takes on a whole new dimension. And I'm liking it. Lloyd Beanie now will be staring so hard at the script. No, Lloyd, just stop. Right. What have you, as you've got up at the oh my God o'clock, what could you recommend? And I have so many people, by the way, Chantal, send me private messages saying, oh, I took Chantal. I even get emails about, I took her advice and watched this and I watched that. Please thank her and blah, blah, blah. So people do listen. They hang on your every word.
Well, bless you. I mean, one of the good things about traveling is that I've managed to download an enormous amount, mainly from Netflix, of brand new things that are out at the moment. So I've got a bit of a smorgasbord of treats. Some that people will hopefully love as much as I've loved, and others that you might just think, no, that's not really for me, and that's completely fine too. But I try and give you a selection of things that I think that I've enjoyed and that have been well made. So the first thing I watched this week was a 5-part miniseries, and I quite like a miniseries. There's it doesn't feel as though it's going to swamp you. It's not going to take over your entire life. And this is only five parts, so you could basically do it over a couple of nights. Not too bad at all. And it's a new thriller. It's based around the sort of MI5 machinations. It's called Treason, and it's on Netflix. Stars an actor called Charlie Cox, whose work I don't know very well, and also a lovely actor who we'll all know a lot better called Kieran Hines, who plays the part of the big boss at MI6, who goes off to his...
He's evil, doesn't he? He always looks evil, doesn't he?
Yes.
Have I got the right guy?
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure yet, because I haven't watched this to the end, exactly how things are going to fall either side. Okay. But he goes off. There's it's contemporary in that there's a leadership campaign going on in the background. So there's lots of people vying to be the new prime minister. And I think we know all about that. And anyway, the head of MI5 goes to his club and promptly falls onto the floor and is rushed away in an ambulance. Then we're not sure whether he's going to live or die, but this is all in the first 5 or 10 minutes, so I'm not giving too much away. But suddenly he's very young, very debonair deputy who had worked in Russia at one stage in his career, has to step into the big role and take over. And you don't quite know how things are going to go, especially after his ex-Russian contact comes back into the picture, who is a woman with whom he's had an affair many years earlier. And it sort of becomes a story about payback time, about things that happened in the past that come back to haunt one in the present. But actually, it's full of sort of, subversion and trickiness and malice, and actually you don't know which way it's going to go. I certainly didn't, and normally I can see a script coming at, the resolution to me, it comes at 100 paces in a fog, I can see the ending. But this one, I wasn't quite sure where it was going to go, and I haven't finished it. So anyway, if you like a good political thriller, or espionage, that sort of thing, then watch Treason, 5 parts on Netflix, and it might just do the trick over a cold winter weekend in London.
Yeah, that or just get on a plane to Santa Monica. One of the two.
No, it's wet and grey.
The thing about LA and the West Coast, in the sunshine, it's absolutely marvelous, and you just feel great. But when it's wet and horrible, it pours. It's a different level of rain than we have in the UK. It's just crazy. Yeah. And it looks so miserable. It just looks miserable, doesn't it? It's horrible.
Yeah, and people really don't know how to drive here. I'm off for lunch in Malibu today, which sounds wonderful. And Malibu is normally, it's beautiful, and there are lots of surfers in the water, and there are lots of, fabulous people wandering up and down the beach. But I think, people in the Cagoule look pretty boring on a dull grey.
And you can't see the ocean.
Part of the world.
You actually can't see the ocean. You go along and we're born up on the Rockford Files and all these wonderful shows. And you think Malibu, and you get there and it's grey. You can't see the ocean. It's just a wall of grey. And you think, this is a dump. You really do think this is a dump. Last time I was in Malibu, very, very quickly. So I was with the late, great Shirley Green, and we're at Paradise Cove. We're having lunch. Just marvelous. Well. On my fridge is a wonderful postcard. Reminds me of Shirley and the wonderful times that we had. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, this is great. And up on the cliff top are some mobile homes, just like you get at like Havering Holidays and all those, those things, mobile homes. So like an idiot that I am, I say, Cheryl, I said, you know what? I could leave London. I'd be happy. Those mobile homes look pretty good. It'd be great to live here. She said, how much do you think they are? I don't know. 15,000, 20,000. She said, yeah, they're 6 million each. For starters.
Nothing surprises me.
They were millions and millions. They were just like if you go on a holiday home, the static caravans. That's what they were. And they were about 6 to 10 million a shot.
Yeah.
It's another world. It's another world. Treason on net.
Yeah, a Treason on Netflix, but bear in mind that, not everything is fabulous out here because it is on a fault line, and there have been earthquakes in Los Angeles. And there's a sort of low level of anxiety the whole time here because you're sort of always wondering when the next big earthquake is coming.
God.
I was there once, and it was a little one, and I just was like, whoa! It was the weirdest feeling. But what did impress me was how quickly they mended the roads and things afterwards. It was done. Whereas here, you'd still be waiting 5 years later. But...
Well, you would be if they. What does it feel like? You've both experienced. I've been to LA loads of times. Thank heavens, never experienced an earthquake. I can't imagine, unless Dwayne Johnson's going to come swinging through the window to rescue me. I can't imagine. What does it feel like?
It was only. The one I was in was only, I suppose, a little one. It was just. I didn't know what was happening.
Okay.
I knew something was happening. Things were shifting. I was shifting. The room was shifting.
So does the ground physically, like you imagine?
It didn't shake up, but things moved. We moved. It was, wow. I don't know. It was small. Chantal, you may have been in a much bigger earthquake.
Well, I was in a reasonably troublesome one in Jamaica. I went down to film with Usain Bolt in 2012. And we were in bed. We'd just arrived from London, and there was an earthquake in the middle of the night.
That is not a. You want to put some. You and Usain punctuation in that last sentence. I went to Jamaica with Usain Bolt. We were in bed, and is there a full stop? Is there a full stop in a paragraph anywhere in that?
No.
God.
Brilliant.
You made Lesley's
Apologies.
Day. Okay, I'm just checking.
My syntax is all over the place at this time.
4 o'clock in the morning. Let's be realistic.
No, but for me, it felt as though I thought a lorry or something had hit the building.
Oh my God.
Actually, the cupboards in the room did rattle, and the bed started moving, and it was very discombobulating, I can tell you.
I bet it was.
Yeah. So people ran into the corridors, all sort of looking at each other as though to say, what on earth is going on? But it was pretty scary stuff. I wouldn't like to experience that again, I can tell you.
No, it's horrible. Right, next on your list.
Anyway, so here we are in Los Angeles. One of my favorite actors of all time is the fabulous Tom Hanks. And Tom Hanks has got a movie out where he plays somebody who is normally he plays such warm and gentle characters, and you know exactly where the film is going to go, and what you see is what you get. You just get that perfect 2 hours. This is very different, and it's not for everybody. And I would say, especially on men's radio station, that we do always consider people's mental health.
Yeah.
And this is the story of a man who is very, very miserable because his wife has died. And he wants to be with her as fast as he possibly can, and is looking for every possible way to get it to wherever she is in the afterlife. And that's where the story starts. And it's sort of quite surprising a role for him, because he doesn't play roles like that. And we're so used to him being, the genial, hail fellow, well met type of character, or the big, powerful character who's on top of everything. But seeing somebody with all these vulnerabilities, whose mental health is really suffering, and grief has just overtaken him, is really surprising. But actually, along comes a brand new next door neighbor in the form of a Mexican woman called Marisol, who is resolutely happy. And of course, the minute you see the two of them in the same frame, you know that this actually is going to be the relationship that is going to kick off and take him, the man, it's called A Man Called Otto, take Otto to a much happier place in his life. So you can sort of see the end coming once the main characters come
This was
together.
originally a German film, I believe.
Actually, it was a German film.
Yeah.
And it's, I think, was it a Swedish story from a Swedish film from a German story, something like that.
There we go. Yeah.
And it was originally entitled A Man Called Ove, which doesn't sound as good as A Man Called Otto.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely delightful. It's in the cinema at the moment, so it's out there. Hasn't been nominated for any of the big awards because it's not that sort of movie. It's very much a movie that you can download on your iPad and watch on the tube on the way into the office, or just curl up on the sofa on a Sunday afternoon and watch it. But it's out there at the moment. It'll be streaming any minute if it isn't already, but it is actually in the cinema. And it's worth watching.
They haven't started streaming it here yet. Although the adverts, being a man of the people, Wolfie Smith, the adverts have been up on the tube for a little bit.
Okay, well, there we are. It won't be long, but worth going to. And it's on, I'm presuming all over the world. It's certainly on here, out in America, and I know was on in London too.
And
So
also, where was I? Victoria Station. There were big adverts. The film that you kindly invited me to go along to see, the new Spielberg film. Is that people liking that? I forgot the name.
Well, we had the Golden Globes here in Los Angeles last week, and Fabelmans, which is the Fabelmans is the name of the story about Steven Spielberg's early life, did very well. I mean, Hollywood loves a story about Hollywood, quite simply. But at the moment, the sort of buzz I got from the BAFTA event last weekend of talking to a lot of people who were BAFTA voters and indeed Oscar voters was that it could be Top Gun that was going to win. But at the Golden Globes, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once actually came out with an awful lot of things. But the BAFTA nominations came out this week, and in most of the nominations have gone to All Quiet on the Western Front. Which is, I think everybody.
I stopped watching. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought I should watch it. I've seen the originals.
Yeah.
And I started to watch it, and I thought, why am I watching this? I'm fed up enough. I'm depressed enough. The weather's rubbish. I got loads of problems. I don't want to watch this because I know what's going to happen, and it's miserable, and I don't need to be reminded how horrendous war is. And after 10 minutes, I thought, no, I'm off. I'll watch something else. That's more fantasy or more light, or I just didn't want to watch it. I couldn't bring myself to do it.
You're right. It's not for everybody. It's a really, really hard film to watch because the story is so bleak. But it's beautifully made, and clearly people have fallen in love with the cinematography and the story and the acting, which is just superb. So, but that's, you know,
I mean,
for
he
those,
looked great. Don't get me wrong. I didn't walk away because I didn't like the quality of the film is
yeah.
unsurpassed. I just thought, no, I do not want to immerse myself in 2 hours of utter misery and futility.
Yeah.
Absolute futility. It proved nothing.
There's slightly less talk than there was about Top Gun and winning. And I think Top Gun was probably one of the best films last year.
It was the best film. It was the best film last year. It was
Yeah.
fabulous. I
felt very privileged to meet Jerry Bruckheimer, who is behind Top Gun and behind Beverly Hills Cop and behind CSI.
And the little thing called
so
Pirates of the
many
Caribbean.
Exactly. And he was there and I chatted to him briefly, but he was definitely the most important person in the room.
How old? I was having this conversation last Saturday because Colin Vane's film producer was talking about Jerry Bruckheimer. And I always think in my head, oh, he must be about 50. Of course, he can't be. He's like 80.
He's either 78 or he's 79.
I know. And he looks fantastic. I mean, I know a little bit of a, but he looks great, doesn't he?
Yeah.
How did he look close up? Come on.
I'm not going to comment because that would not be kind of me to comment.
But he was nice. He's like one of my. Was he nice?
Well, he's 79, but maybe he doesn't look quite as old as he possibly is. And
fair enough. Well, that must be the lovely sunshine in California.
I'm sure it's the lovely sunshine
and a nice, healthy diet. He is huge. If you don't know Jerry Bruckheimer, trust me, just think films and television. He is the man. He's the number one guy. There's nobody bigger than him. How exciting to meet him.
So that was very exciting. So then I looked at another small independent film that's been nominated in various awards. And it's a rather sweet, interesting film. And it's based on a true story. And it's called The Swimmers. It came out on Netflix about a month ago. And it's about two young Syrian women who were swimmers, who escaped from Syria, managed to get themselves to Turkey, then got themselves in one of those crazy boats to get across to Lesbos, one of the Greek islands. A horrendous, absolutely horrendous journey. And we've seen all those terrible pictures on the news over many years of Syrian refugees fleeing their country. And then they get to Germany. And the story really is about them arriving in Germany, setting up a new life and going, well, we used to swim for Syria, so now we want to swim for Germany because we're just great swimmers. And actually, it's incredible because the whole premise of it is, will they get to the Olympics or won't they get to the Olympics? And where you see where the story starts from, which is an incredibly bleak story of refugees, to where it gets to. It's a terrific film. It's only 2 hours, but it's a rather beautiful story. And if you like something that's got sport and athleticism in it, but pathos and a gentle human story, then it's a very, very nice film to watch. It's on Netflix and it's simply called The Swimmers.
Which, speaking of which, look at this. It says there's a lot of truth to the Olympic mindset that is coming in from northeastern United States. I've been honored to serve a handful of patients who are Olympians, coming back to the swimmers. I've been blessed to play in the Olympic band. It's a mindset of resiliency, persistence, and endurance. Thanks, Asa. There's a thing.
I watched the film, funnily enough, Chantal, I watched it last weekend, and it's just delightful because of, I think, all the way through, as bleak as it is, the elements of hope, the very feisty sister. I mean, they are chalk and cheese, the two sisters. It's exquisitely performed. It's a gentle film. It's just lovely. It reminds me of a play I'd seen not that long ago called The Boy with Two Hearts, which was again about refugees, and just that element of hope that keeps you going, and you wish good things for them. Delightful film.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, a nice film to watch. It ends well, so don't feel as though you're just throwing yourself into 2 hours of misery, because it's not like that.
And in the end, they drown.
No, definitely not. But it does end up on. It ends on another beach, but I won't tell you why. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I downloaded for the plane yesterday because we were flying in from Denver, and I thought I'd better just check what is top of the rankings on Netflix in the UK this week. And one of those things is a sports documentary series called Break Point. I follow tennis a bit, and I love going to Wimbledon if ever I get the opportunity, which is very, very rare. But it's a very interesting documentary about the young tennis players of our time. So all the old tennis players are sort of, the Nadals, and they're just about finishing their career. And there's a whole raft of new young talent coming through. And the first episode, which is terrifically exciting, is about the very feisty, very in-your-face Australian guy called Kyrgios, who is the bad boy of tennis. And he really is the bad boy of tennis. He's sort of covered in tattoos. He's got attitude like you wouldn't believe. It's fascinating that you can see somebody who is a wonderful sportsman and one of the best tennis players in the world, who's deeply angry. And, I'm not a psychologist, but my God, I'd love to get to the bottom of it and to find out what drives him. But what's really interesting, he talks about not wanting to wait until, the Nadals of the world have retired for him to be the most successful man in
How old is this guy?
Kyrgios is 22, 23. He's a young man.
Wow.
But he wants to be better than them before they leave the scene. So he doesn't want to just be the world's number one because they've all retired. So it's completely different motivation. It's rather interesting.
He wants to prove himself now, not like what he doesn't want to get into, what they got in Formula One is say, oh, well, if Lewis Hamilton was driving against Ayrton Senna would, wipe the floor with him. It's that argument, obviously, because they never were contemporaries. I get that. Yeah. When I lived in America, it's interesting what you say about motivation. John McEnroe was the man, and he was the bad boy of tennis, and everyone was talking about it. And somebody said, "Oh, why is he like that?" And somebody chirped up that I was with and said, "Well, I deal with his father, who was an accountant." They said, "If you want to understand John McEnroe, spend 5 minutes in the company of his father. You will understand everything."
Well, you need to unpack that, as the Americans would say. So is the father, deeply grumpy and an unsatisfied human being?
Really, he was a really aggressive, gotta win, I have to win, there is only one way, it's my way. And all of that had been imbued clearly into his son, who really had the same spirit. Yeah. So I don't know whether he was miserable. He was just like gimlet-eyed focused. That's where I'm going. No one's going to stand in my way. If you stand in my way, you're going to have a major problem. I'm not. That's their mindset.
Yeah, I read Andre Agassi's autobiography and felt similarly. I mean, the stuff behind, because I had a thing about him all those years ago, and the stuff that went on in the background that people don't know, have no idea of, and it was painful reading.
I think you can only be that good if you're quite different from us. Yeah. You cannot be like us and be the best at what you do in the world. Yeah. It is not. You have to sacrifice certain things. Yeah. And other people go, "Oh, I don't like that." Well, you may not like them, but they're the best that they do. Same as Formula One drivers. Part of them is psychopathic. You would not do that in a car. You got to. There's a different wiring of your brain, and certainly with tennis. With tennis, you have to be that channeled and that focused, and not be distracted by all the other rubbish that we get sidelined in.
But actually, that's the interesting thing about the documentary is it's sort of cut like it's in a way like a thriller, and that it's like one of those great sort of Formula One sports documentaries, incredibly fast-paced. But Kyrgios really hasn't compromised very much in his career. He's done it on his terms. He goes out, he drinks, he, sleeps for 2 hours and turns up on court. He clearly doesn't bear fools gladly. He doesn't behave. He'll smash a racket or two in every single tennis tournament. He will scream. He will use the F-bomb. It's really interesting that he's completely uncompromising. but a fascinating character. Anyway, it's a good series.
Of uncompromising, because we've only got 25 seconds. David Crosby of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young passed yesterday. An artist who never compromised in a world of corporate rock and, you know, these sort of people, these bland people. He remained true to himself. How many of us can actually say that? So just a tiny little aside to a great artist who entertained us so royally. Chantal, please go to bed and get some rest. Please.
I'm going back to
I
bed.
feel guilty. Lesley, thank you so much for your lovely contribution. Safe journey, everybody. I'll be back Monday. Have a wonderful weekend. Until then, try and stay out of trouble if you can.